Okay. Next, I'm going to figure out how I want to reattach this, since obviously the leather rots so wonderfully here that this will only last so long. In fact, it'll last longer after I put sinew on. So, I may just sew this buckle to the end of a strap. Yeah, that might actually be the best way to do it. Alrighty. And to do that, I need a strap. Now, the next thing to figure out where we're going to sew this exactly. There's the idea. And that means that we're going to need a couple of holes. And I'm not going to use a hole punch because that's a huge hole. We're instead going to use a punch awl. This is one of the leather working tools my dad gave me. He used to do a lot of leather work. This is a punch awl. It's got a nice little sharp tip. And unfortunately, these little sharp tips are also very delicate. So if you drop one of these, odds are you will land on the tip and you'll break the tip, and then you'll have to figure out where to get more tips. Hence, this nice little rolly barrel has got a strap attached to it. That way it doesn't roll itself right off of my table and onto the cement floor. Had that happen earlier. Don't like it. Not one bit. Alright. So I have gone through and punched little holes into my leather, as you can see. I'm going to zoom back out so I have a work area. Yes, that's what the little blue tape is for. It defines my work area so that I can work on it without constantly staring at the screen. Alright. So, I tie a little knot in the tail end of the sinew that I was using earlier on the other stitch. Make that twice. Do my best to make sure that it doubles on itself. That ought to be enough to hold it in place. So I made two little holes here, under the impression that what I was going to do was attach this to the end. I might want 4 little holes instead, but we'll see what 2 little holes does for me. So I've come up through the leather and I'm going to make a little loop here on this side. Make sure I don't cross over myself here. And I'm going to pull that fairly snug. Okay, as snug as I can get for having a flat piece of leather with a bulb next to it. And I'm going to go down the other hole. Like that. I have no idea how hard it is keeping in this work zone, since I tend to like to have these things close to my belly. It's a little easier to work with your hands closer to your body. So, I've put it down the hole, and I'm making another loop on the other side. There, that loop's complete. And this side is going to be a little tighter than the other one. Doubling it over. Going through the hole again. go back across to the other hole. Oops, looks like I missed the hole. There we are. Got to be very careful with these. They are very sharp needles. Just because I'm not using them to punch holes in the leather doesn't mean they won't. And I'm going to go through that hole again. Pull it tighter this time. That way it starts to match this other side. And we're going to go through the hole again, a third time. Going to go back across. Yes, this end of this leather will rot before the sinew does. But because I'm no longer using the leather, because I'm not splitting it and putting it through the tongue here, the pressure is going to be different. The pressure is going to only be on two small holes as opposed to being on two straps that are constantly being pulled and thinned. We'll see if this makes a difference. I'll let you know next time. So now that I've pulled it through, I am going to tie it off by looping it through itself, holding the knot down with my thumb so that it stays fairly snug. And yes, this side is a complete mess of sinew. That's because this little piece that I had sitting out has decided it can loop around with other things and in general be a nuisance. So I'm just going to trim that back. And you can see that this other loop here is still too loose. Because, well, that was my loose loop. I'll have to live with that for now. Alright, kind of loop it around itself again. And that should hold it pretty darn well.